We're back, baby. We are back. A new year, new format, same great coverage. Let's start the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the return edition of the Draft Countdown Show. A little slight name change. I'm your host, Brian Bosarge, and we are 245 days away from the 2026 NFL Draft. It'll be here before we know it. But I want to remind everybody, as my helpful little reminder here in the bottom corner, like our videos, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, all that good stuff. And if for all discussions, not just football, but a whole lot more, join our Discord channel. You can find the link to that top right of the search bar at draftcountdown.com. So, what can you expect from Draft Countdown this year? Well, more of the coverage that you've come to know and love, with even more than we had last year. Brad Menendez, great contributor. He's going to expand our fantasy coverage on the site. So not just on the site, but also on our YouTube channel, which you're most likely watching right now. But if you're not, it's youtube.com/the Draft Countdown. So find that there. You're going to continue to see great draft and NFL coverage from the decades of experience from Pigskin Paul. You'll continue to read great draft coverage from Brian Lamb. You will continue to get great creative pieces from Miranda Wilhelm about the NFL and other things. And once again, you're going to get great draft coverage from me. I'm back after my hiatus. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Of course, you're going to see position rankings, big boards, mock drafts that are the centerpiece of our coverage at draftcountdown.com. And right now at draftcountdown.com, you can currently see my first set of position rankings, my top 100 board, and my first mock draft of the season, second overall of the cycle. But you can get that again at draftcountdown.com. So with all that said, let's get into the show. So let's get right into my 2026 NFL Draft quarterback rankings. We're going to dive into some positions here week by week as we get going through the cycle. We'll start with the top five-ish here quarterbacks. Right off the jump, if you haven't pulled Arch Manning from Texas out of your rankings, out of your mock drafts, put him away. He's out of this draft. Put him into 2027 already. His grandfather, Archie, basically came out and said he's not going to be in this draft class. He'll be at Texas another year. I fully expected that before I ever heard that. I didn't put him in my rankings to begin with, so I don't have to take him out, hence why he's not on this pretty little graphic you see around my face. So put him away. Now, who is going to be in this draft class? Well, we can't 100% for certain say every one of these guys I'm going to talk about today is, including my number one quarterback, and it's Lenore Sellers from South Carolina, the 6'3", 240-pounder, David Blaine levels of escapability, tremendous arm talent, has the talent to be a Cam Newton level quarterback, got some mechanical stuff to clean up, but the sky's the limit with Sellers. If he has a tremendously huge year this year, I think he enters this draft class. If he has a year where he only moderately progresses, then I think you could see him go back to school as well. So we'll see how it goes with Sellers, but I'm expecting a huge jump in not only his production but his skill set this year. My number 2 quarterback is same state as Sellers. Clemson's Cade Klubnik, 6'2", 210, doesn't have the huge arm, but makes a lot of good plays off scripts. Got great accuracy and timing with his receivers. He's has some athleticism, like I said, escapability from the pocket, but doesn't have that big arm that Sellers has, and maybe some of the other guys in this class. But I think Klubnik, who got tremendously better from 23 through 24, I think he continues on that trajectory. He could be the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft to a quarterback needy team, factors considered. My number 3 quarterback in this class is Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, 6'2", 200. Dad, Doug, the current offensive coordinator of the New Orleans Saints. He's a pro-style passer, very accurate, average arm, not very mobile. And there are concerns leaking out now that he may have some sort of degenerative knee condition, maybe tendonitis in his knee. And I heard Todd McShay talking about it earlier, that maybe that's what led him, his numbers kind of dipped towards the end of the 2024 season. And maybe that had something to do with it, something to monitor, something to watch. But I expect Nussmeier, if the knee clears, to be a potential top 10 pick in the 2026 NFL draft. My number 4 quarterback right now is Penn State's Drew Aller, 6'5", 241, prototype size. He improved a lot from 23 to 24, but he has some games, man, where you're like, what the hell are you doing? Head scratching decisions, needs to clean that up, but he's another one that, athleticism, can make the throws downfield, but something to monitor with his decision making. My current number 5 quarterback is Indiana's Fernando Mendoza, transfer from Cal. Thought he had a good year last year for the Golden Bears. We'll see how he projects to Indiana. I also want you to keep an eye out on Arizona State's Sam Levitt. Baylor's Sawyer Robertson, I think, is a name you're going to hear more of. And Wazoo transfer, now Oklahoma Sooner, John Mateer, is other guys to keep up. And I think, depending on shakes out, who declares, who doesn't, you could see some of these guys get in that day 1 potential, definitely day 2 conversation when it's all said and done. All right. Be right back, and we'll talk about something else. All right. College ball season's here, baby. Week 0 starts this week. As it has been in the past, it's light on, big games and the like, but there's a handful. We're going to talk about 4 games today that we're going to focus on, and it all starts in Dublin, Ireland. Farmageddon heads over to Dublin, 11 a.m. on Saturday on ESPN. Iowa State and Kansas State, 2 top 25 teams, going to get at it. Players to watch from a draft point of view in this game for Iowa State. Their big guy is Dominic Orange, interior defensive lineman, good size, one of Bruce Feldman's freaks on his freak list. So, probably going to test really well. So he's a guy to keep an eye on, a potential day 2 guy there. For Kansas State, I got a draftable grade on their safety, Gunnar Maldonado. So watch out for him, and definitely keep an eye on their 3rd-year quarterback, Avery Johnson. We're not talking about him much right now, but from what I saw of him last year as a redshirt freshman, I thought he showed potential, and don't be surprised if his stock hasn't risen higher by year's end. Maybe not for the 26 class, but for the 27 class. But keep an eye on Avery Johnson. He is draft eligible, the quarterback for Kansas State. 5:30 p.m. over on Fox. We're going to get Fresno State at Kansas. Kurt Warner's son, EJ, a 3-time now transfer, Temple to Rice to now Fresno State, has won the starting quarterback job for the Bulldogs. He'll be doing battle with Kansas's veteran QB, Jalen Daniels, in his sixth year of collegiate football. Daniels, I thought, was getting a lot of buzz a couple of years ago, but he kind of fell off last year. Injuries, I think, has kind of hurt him and hurt his development of a potential NFL future, but we'll see. Also like the Jayhawks interior offensive lineman Bryce Foster and their linebacker transfer, originally at Pitt, spent last year at South Carolina. This year at Kansas is Bangali Kamara. I think him and Foster both fringe draft worthy at this point, but keep an eye on those guys. 6 p.m. on the CBS Sports Network. Conference USA battle here. Conference game, I guess. Sam Houston at Western Kentucky. Not a whole lot draft worthy to see in this one, to be honest. But at this point, you're just hoping to see that the fourth school now for Sam Houston State running back Alton McCaskill. This is going to be the one where he finally breaks out. We'll see how he does against the Hilltoppers in week 0. And finally, 6:30 p.m. on CBS, Stanford heads to the islands to take on Hawaii. Hadn't been the best offseason for the Cardinal. Head coach got in some stuff. We got a new head coach now. Andrew Luck is basically GMing the football program, I guess, sort of, kind of. So we'll see how they compete in the ACC. Best prospect for Stanford right now looks like it's going to be edge rusher Ernest Cooper IV. Best prospect for Hawaii to keep an eye on is their wide receiver Pofele Ashlock. So we'll see how that game goes, and we're going to talk about that game in just a second. Bit more. All right, now our news segment. Another news segment we're gonna do every week. Last couple of years with myself and Shane, and we did our lock of the week. So that stays. But starting next week, I'm gonna go with what I call 3 likes and 1 lock. So 3 likes, 1 lock, if you will. And basically what I'll give you is three lines. And I may sprinkle in some NFL games, but I'm not as comfortable, what you would say, betting on NFL games as I am with college games for some reason. I just feel more comfortable betting the college ball games. So we're going to go with 3 games that I like. Not love, but I like. And then I'll give you the 1 lock of the week. But this week, with only 4 games that have lines, we're just going to go 1 like, 1 lock. And the game that I like this week is Hawaii at home. Like I said, a lot of turmoil with Stanford right now. Traveling out to Hawaii for that first game. Hawaii actually favored here at home by 2.5. I'm going to lay that this week. Hawaii at home, 2.5 point favorite. But the one I'm locking in this week is the Jayhawks. I think they just got a massive talent advantage with Lance Leipold's team here. And they're 12.5 point favorites at home. I love that line. So lock that one in. Lock in Kansas minus 12.5 over Fresno State this week. All right, we've had some all-star game shakeups in the offseason that we're going to have to talk about right here, and we'll definitely talk about we'll talk about all-star games a lot more as we go. As you know, I'm from Mobile, Senior Bowl's in Mobile, so we're going to talk about it. But the Senior Bowl under new leadership now and a new title sponsor, Panini, the card company, Panini Cards, the new title sponsor of the Senior Bowl, and they've had a associate sponsorship role with the Senior Bowl for the last few years now. Now they take over the title sponsorship from Reese's, who they've had to have been a sponsor for over a decade now of the game. Not gonna lie, and I know me and my fellow media members, we're gonna miss them Reese cups in the press box, but we'll have to figure it out, I guess. Panini, now the title sponsor of the Senior Bowl, and they got a new leader now. New executive director of the Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy, left to become the general manager for the Oklahoma Sooners, and he's replaced now by former Dallas Cowboys scout Drew Fabianic. Big shoes to fill for Mr. Fabianic there. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if the talent level changes. I don't know. I've expected it to kind of like dip the last couple of years, and it hasn't. So we'll see, right? I mean, who knows what's going to go on there, but it's going to be interesting to see if this is the year that the Shrine finally makes more headway with gaining players from the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl game will take place Saturday, January 31st, and carried live on by the NFL Network. Speaking of the Shrine Bowl, the East-West Shrine Bowl has moved its game date up. The last couple of years, they've been running almost semi-concurrently with the Senior Bowl. It's for some a little bit. This year, they won't be for the most part. They moved their game up. It has been on Thursdays. The game had been on Thursdays with their practices, kind of running Thursday through whatever. But so they're moving the game day up now. It'll be now it's going to be on January 27th. That's a Tuesday night. Will be carried as usual by the NFL Network. But I like the new schedule format. I mean, if you're going to not have it on Saturday and you're, hell bent on, kind of doing what you've been doing, at least this way, you're going to allow the NFL personnel now to watch every single practice instead of having to leave Dallas. I think the game's still in Dallas. Leave there, with practices still being held to fly into Mobile for the Senior Bowl practices. Now they'll be able to watch every practice and, get to Mobile in time for the first Senior Bowl practice. And the game will be on the Tuesday night, like I said, and that will take place the night of the first day of Senior Bowl practices. So, everybody goes to the hotel, watches the Shrine on TV, all that, or the bars, if you will, downtown Mobile that the folk around here seem to like to frequent. But Shrine Bowl moves dates. And there's also a new game in town. The American Bowl is going to make its debut this year. It's being headed up by Scott Phillips, and it's going to emanate from Southeastern University, which is in Lakeland, Florida. Game's going to kick off Thursday night, January 22nd, and it's going to be broadcast on, wait for it, NFL Network. I believe the American Bowl, was from all the buzz and everything I'm hearing with it being on NFL Network, it should slot in now as the number 3 All-Star game in the pecking order there, likely replacing the Hula Bowl. Hula Bowl had a decent run here the last couple of years, but apparently their management team not great. Made poor decision after poor decision after poor decision, and last year just completely tanked the game. And wasn't even televised. You couldn't find highlights. We still have yet to get stats on the game, so it was a mess. But I'm looking forward to seeing how the American Bowl operates, and hopefully, they'll not go the path of the Hula Bowl, and we'll get us we'll continue to have us a viable third All-Star game after the NFLPA game dipped out a few years ago, and then the Hula Bowl just fell off the cliff last year. But yep. So that's all the All-Star game news. Let's answer some questions. All right. Every week we're going to do a question and answer segment at this point in the show, but we're changing it up a little bit. Before we took questions from Twitter or X or Facebook or wherever, but we want to make it a bit more exclusive this year. So now we're only going to take questions from the Draft Countdown Discord server. All the more reason for you to join and sign up. And you can go to draftcountdown.com, top right of the search bar, there's a link for the Discord for you to join there. And like I said, if you have questions, be it college football, NFL draft, fantasy, it's not necessarily questions. If it even just we'll answer all your questions. If it's not a question that I personally can answer, I'll reach out to somebody that can and find out, and I will get that answer for you. So, if you want your questions answered, try to get them in, by Sunday or Monday of each week. Go to the podcast section of the Discord server, and that's where, we want you to post your questions and we'll answer them there. So yeah, sign up today, become a part of the show. So that being said, we did get one question in the Discord there, and it comes from one of our own. Brad Menendez wants to get thoughts on Michigan and specifically how they are going to handle things on the defensive side of the ball. It's a good question. Michigan is, I think, preseason ranked top 15 or right at it. Finished the season last year with a win over Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl. But they are replacing a lot of players on this team. Both sides of their offense and defensive line. We got new starters. I think we got 4 new starters maybe on the offensive line. We're going to have a true freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood, 5-star quarterback, but, has never taken a snap in a college football game. Anxious to see how Justice Haynes, the Alabama transfer, handles the running back position. So we'll see. Michigan was smart bringing in 2 veteran graduate transfers to back up Bryce Underwood, though, bringing Jake Garcia from East Carolina and Mikey Keene as backup quarterbacks there to kind of provide that veteran leadership to Underwood. Defensively, you've got some guys you can count on the defensive end position. Rashawn Benny, Derek Moore. I'm a big fan of Jayshawn Barham, the linebacker there. Think he can be a day 2 draftee. You got veterans in the veteran secondary like Zeke Berry. But, man, you got a lot of unknowns here, a lot of guys who haven't had a whole lot of playing time. I'm looking at it. I mean, their schedule is going to be tough, right, or tough-ish. Maybe they end up with this around the same record, they had last year. I don't know if this is a playoff contending team, taking them at face value unless they have a lot of things start going their way, right out of the gate. But so, Brad, I hope that, probably didn't instill a whole lot of confidence in you, I guess. But let's, I have a question for you guys. I saw this about 2 months ago over on X, and Cole Kubelik from ESPN asked the question. But, college football's changed a lot in the last few years. We got basically rampant transferring now. There's no stopping it, really. Players are making NIL money, and I'm all for that. Happy for them. Now we got revenue sharing, right? So anxious to see how that really goes. They're talking about some sort of potential salary cap. That's not going to work. But and the playoff ever expanding. You got the Big Ten wanting a 2018 playoff. I might be one of the 2 people in the world that actually wants to see that. Outside of the Big Ten, I guess. So that would be interesting. But back in June, Cole Kubelik asked a question. So now I'm going to pass it on to you. What would it take for you to just, I'm done. I'm not watching college football again. What would it take for you to stop watching college football? Like never watching again. Screw it. I'm out. What's it going to take? And will it happen? Could it happen? I don't know. For me, it'd probably be some sort of nuclear apocalypse or something would probably be what it would take for me. But I'm anxious. Leave your answers in the comments on this video. I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what it would take for you to stop watching college football. And I'll share the best ones, the best comments next week during this section of the show. All right, let's get our final thoughts in after the comeback episode of the Draft Countdown show. Final thoughts. I just want to thank everybody out there who has subscribed to the channel. Our subscriber numbers have probably doubled, if not more, in the last year. I want to thank everybody for their patience, for sticking with us. We like to take the summer off, so kind of recharge the batteries. But for me, I've been recharging my batteries a bit longer. Went through a bit last year. Had some tough stuff going on, but I'm through it. Good to go. I miss this. I missed having this show. I miss writing about football. I miss writing about the draft. I miss talking about the draft. And I guess I never really did, but not to the extent with you guys. And I missed it. But rest assured, we're back. And we're going to be back each week. Well, mostly, each week. We're going to try to be on every week. No guarantees. Got a Disney trip coming up in the middle of the season. So, probably going to miss that week. But just want to remind everybody, like our videos, subscribe to the channel. Help us grow the channel. Share it out with everybody. Tell everybody to join the channel. Subscribe. And it's going to be a fun year, man. I'm looking forward to it. And hey, when we talked about week 0 this week, the games, that ain't nothing compared to the games we're going to get to talk about next week, man. Week 1 is loaded. So we got that to look forward to, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.